Hello, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. I was waiting for you here in my study where I spend most of my time practicing, writing, teaching and tweaking things on the website. Welcome, here we are, and good work on signing up for Guitar for Free. You've now got yourself access to tons of guitar lessons, which I guarantee that you're going to learn something from, okay? No matter what level of musician you're at, there's stuff for beginners, there's stuff for advancing players, and there's stuff for the super advanced as well, okay? You can always learn, no matter what level you're at, and I'd offer you a money-back guarantee that you'll learn something, but as you've only had to give me your email address, then, you know, what have we all got to lose? Okay, so well done, and thank you to everyone that's been using the sites and signing up already. So far there's been a lot of takers on the mailing list already, which is fantastic. And great stuff to hear from you guys out there. It's lovely to see all the comments I've been getting on Facebook and on YouTube. Please keep them coming. You know, if you want to say something, don't hesitate, don't be shy, go ahead. If you want to link a video and share it with some people, please do it. Help spread the word. That's all I ask in return, to try and get as many people as we can signing up to Guitar for Free. And also keep the suggestions coming in, okay? Because there's so much guitar information and resources out there on the web that I don't want to be remaking any lessons that have already been done. You know, Sweet Child of Mine has been done to death, Bob Marley's been done to death. I don't want to keep remaking videos that are already done. So if you're looking for something and you can't find it and you need some help, then drop me a line, say, well, how do we do this, where is it, can I do this, and if it hasn't been done, I'll make a lesson for it, okay? So that way we keep it all growing and regenerating. You know, that's the beauty of teaching. You know, we can all learn something new off other people, no matter what level they're at. You know, I get students that teach me stuff all the time. You know, they might know how to play a song that I've never got around to learning, and I hear it and I'll be like, oh yeah, show me how you play that, okay? And then I get to learn a new song, and in turn they get to articulate their understanding of music better. So everyone benefits. You know, that's the good thing about being a teacher. You know, you keep learning and keep doing new things all the time. So please keep the feedback coming, okay? So this is an introductory lesson. There's going to be a few more things coming out to you, so keep an eye on your inbox. I'll keep you updated on any new things that are going on the site, and keep tabs on the site as well, because like I said, it's early days still. It's growing a lot, okay, and help spread the word. There's going to be more guitar teachers coming on board, and tons more lessons. Okay, so plenty of stuff for you to get your teeth into and start playing along with. Okay, so in this first lesson, because I realised that a lot of people of different, you know, varying levels are going to be signing up for this, I'm trying to cater a lesson that covers, you know, everyone. And what I'm going to be talking about in this lesson is how you play music by ear. Okay, this is a super important skill. If you want to just sit and vibe with a guitar on your own, or you want to be an improviser, or you want to be a songwriter, then you really do need to learn to play by ear, okay, at some stage. And it's a myth to think that you have to be studying music for a long time to be able to do this. Okay, you can pick it up very quickly with some of the tips that I'm going to give you here. So what we'll do in this lesson, I'll explain to you a little bit more about it. We'll listen to a few songs, and then I'll give you some pointers on how to pick out the key notes, okay? And if you do that with these songs exactly as I say, and then you apply it to a few other songs on your own and practice, within a short space of time, you'll get very good at it and you'll become pretty fluent at it, okay? So you don't need to study music loads. You don't need to, you know, learn to read music. You don't need to, you know, it's not essential at this stage that you learn what crotchets, quavers, treble clefs, key signatures, all that. You don't need to know all that right now. And just remember, there's tons of musicians that don't read music. They all play by ear. There's lots of them. Jimi Hendrix leaps to mind, you know. So you can have a very intuitive understanding of music. Some people study chords and just have their own method from there. You know, but you can pick all these skills up very fast. That's just what I want to get across to you, to encourage you, you know. So let's get started. My D16's down here on the floor, just calling out to be played, but I'm going to leave it there for a second and we'll just talk about the listening stuff. So, okay, there are 12 notes in music, okay, 12 different keys to choose from. So already you can see that we've narrowed this right down. It's not like there's 1,000 notes and it's you've got to buy a lottery ticket to be able to get the right one. There's only 12 notes to choose from, and once you find the key note out of those 12, then you know that with that key note there are 7 notes that go together, okay? So in all there's only 7, or 8 if you include the same note an octave higher. Okay, so out of the 12 keys, there's a key note that goes with every song. Every song has its own key. And then with that key, there are the notes that correspond to that key. So there's only 8 notes. So there you go. We've narrowed it right down, okay, from the start. Another tip is, and this isn't the rule, but it is often the case that a piece of music begins and finishes on the key note. Okay, so there you go. That's something else to listen out for. So the key note, listen out for the first note. Well, let's use those first couple of things to get started, okay? So I've got a couple of songs here. Let's see what we've got first. Hopefully you can hear this. Okay. Queen, Somebody to Love. Now just listen to it and try and pick out some notes, any notes, whatever notes you think work. And just try and sing along. Now I can hear a key note there now. This is the key note. Can you hear that note? That's the key note, okay? Now you might have heard some other notes. You might have heard that one. You might have heard some others. Don't worry if you have to slide to get there. I have to do that myself, as you just saw. That's the key note. And what it is, the key note, and this is what you've got to develop, what you've got to sort of improve in yourself if you can't do it already, is that you've got to find that key note. And what's important about it is it's a release note. Okay, and this is what I mean. You'll learn more about this and understand it the more I talk about it. You're looking for a note that gives you a release. Okay, a lot of you that have never done that before are probably thinking, what's he on about? Release what? And I'll try and explain it to you now. There, sings it at the beginning. You see. Now listen out for the key note. Now I'll play the other notes. You might hear this one. But it doesn't work as well as you hear that there, and that's the point of release in music. You get all of these chords that go together with the key note, and they all have a different feeling. It's almost like they all have a kind of, they all form part of a circle, if you like. But there's one note that just brings that circle together and gives it that release, that resolve, and that's the key note. Listen to it again, because there's a big key note at the beginning where the whole of that intro a cappella bit resolves. So listen. Here it is again. See, he sings the key note at the beginning. That works. But then when it resolves, that's that release. Can you hear it? So you're looking for that release note. The one that works with all of the other chords. And if I keep singing it, sing along. There you go. You see it works with all of the chords, okay? Okay, so we got the key note. Now, we need to apply this to the instrument. Here it is. Martin D16 just waiting to be played. So that was the key note. Now, one note that you absolutely must not forget on pain of death, okay, is C major. Okay, there's a first fret second string, if you don't already know. There's a C major chord. So first fret second string. Now C is where most of the classification of music begins. Okay, we start from middle C. On the piano, it's in the middle. To the right of it are all the treble notes. To the left of it are all the bass notes. Okay. It's got no sharps or flats, so on the piano it's really easy to improvise with. You only have to play the white keys. If you think of the circle of fifths, when you get to know this, if you haven't learnt it already, it begins with a C major. So don't forget C. Mental note of where it is on the guitar, and you can begin to learn all of the other notes using that as a starting point. Okay, so keep C in place, and let's just get that key note again. Freddie picks it out for you right at the start. So keep that key note. And now we're going to go up from C until we get to it, okay? There it is. And you can feel when you get up to, you know, about 3 or 4 notes below it, it kind of pulls you to it, like you're on a roller coaster. and that's the release. You even get a bit of a release when you're going up chromatically, okay? So that's the key note, okay? I'm going to play it an octave lower, and do a major chord of that key note, and there it is, A flat major. That's the key. Now, if you test that note, that one, not that one, that one. Now try and play it in rhythm to the song. And it works with everything. Okay, so there you have the keynote. Okay, now if you can pick out that keynote straight away, fantastic. You're well on the way. Okay. Now there's other notes you might hear in there as well. You can hear a lot of harmony going on. Another note that I picked out was E flat. Now that works as well, but that's not the key note. And I'll explain to you why. We'll go back to that release thing. Okay. It kind of works, but it doesn't give you the same. It doesn't give you that release that you get with the A flat. Okay, so if you can pick out the other chords as well, that's also good. But you just need to work on it so to make sure you pick out the key note, the main note, and it's that one that gives you the release. This note here happens to be the dominant chord. There's a dominant note within that goes with every key note. Okay, and that's one that a lot of people often hear. And how you test that's not whether that's the right note or not is ideally you listen out to see if it has that release, which in this case it doesn't on here. But if you can't hear that yet, then we do something called the minor test. Okay, and what we do is we play that note, the other note you hear that is, as if it's the top part of a minor arpeggio. Okay, and then if it is, then you know. If you play that minor arpeggio with the song, if it doesn't fit, then you know it's wrong. Now, I know that E flat, okay, well I know that D is the top of a G minor arpeggio. This is the minor test, by the way. If I play an A flat minor arpeggio or a G sharp minor arpeggio, I get that E flat at the top, okay? So let's try that and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then you know it's not the right key. So that's the other note we heard. Wait till the song drops in a bit further forward. And then let's see if that minor arpeggio works with it. No, that B clashes. So you know that can't be the key note. That is a note in the chord, but not the key note, okay? The other note you might hear is this one. Da, you might hear that one. Da. And what you'll notice is that with all the harmonies, there probably is someone singing this note. But it doesn't kind of work as well. And if you try the minor arpeggio on that one, this note that I'm hearing now is a C, which does fit with the key note. But is it the key note itself? Do the minor test. This case, C at the top of an F minor arpeggio, F minor that is. If we try that, what will that sound like? It just doesn't go with it at all, okay? But if we play the A flat, it does. So you would have heard these notes, okay? Unless you're tone deaf, of course. You would have heard that note, the root note, the third, or the fifth, okay? And how you test which one is the key note is you do the minor test, which is what we did here. That was with the fifth at the top, that doesn't work. Now that was with the E flat at the top. With the C at the top, that didn't work either. But what did work is the A flat. So that's the key note. That's how you do it, okay? So it's not that tricky, okay? Let's move on. Let's try another song and see if you can do the same thing. So let's try this one now. Remember, listen out for the key notes, okay? The one that works with all of the chords. Watch out for the dominant and watch out for the third. It's the key note we want, okay? There's a bit of an introduction to this one. Imagine John Lennon. And it's Phil Spector, so it's got this, it's much higher up in the mix, it's a lot louder. Can you hear the keynote? I can hear the keynote now, can you hear it? That's the keynote. There's only 2 chords at the beginning there, but they both work with it. You might have heard, it's not that one, that's not the keynote. This is why. Imagine all the people. It works with every single chord. That's the test. You can hear other notes, but if it's not quite as comfortable, there isn't that release, which we just got when it dropped into the chorus, then you know you're not on the key note, okay? Let's try it one more time. I want to hear that drop where it goes into the chorus. This is the release I'm talking about. Keep singing it, get used to it. Here comes the release. This is the release. There you go. That's like a wave breaking on the shore. That's the release, okay? And that's what I mean by release in music. Try and think of these things when you're singing. It's a resolving of a chord, okay? That only the keynote can do. So we've got it. Now we've got to find it on the guitar. So let's go back to B. I hope you haven't forgotten where B was. And let's just check we've got the keynote. So, now we're at C. That's it, I've got C in my head now. That's C, but the keynote isn't that. Let's listen to the keynote again. Imagine there's no heaven. That's the keynote. There it is. And the reason that one was difficult to hear because it was just below the C. That's the keynote, B in this case. So if we do a B major chord, we've got it, okay? Now remember, you might have heard another chord. You might have heard you might have heard that one. That's the dominant chord. Let's try that one now. Get past that introduction. You can hear that one. There's a bit of release there. Not quite so much there though. Just keep singing. Now it works, but the release isn't the same. It's not quite like that wave breaking on the shore, okay? The other way, remember, to test it is you should be able to feel it by now, but the other way to test it is the minor arpeggio, and that's an F sharp with it at the top of a B minor arpeggio. Let's try that minor arpeggio. That D clashes something awful. So you know it's not the dominant chord, F. The other one you might hear is the G sharp. You might hear that one. Again, now you should feel that the release isn't the same as the home key. So now we've got a G sharp. Let's try a G. Let's try a it's not a G sharp, actually it's a D sharp, excuse me, that's a D sharp. So now let's try a G sharp arpeggio and see if that fits with it, minor arpeggio that is. A couple of the notes work, but that G sharp at the beginning doesn't work, okay? So you know it's not, it's not the F sharp, the dominant, it's not the third, but what you do know is that it's it's the B. release you get when it hits the chorus. One more time. There you go. So it's the release, okay, the release you want. So you should be getting better at it now. Don't worry if you have to slur up to some notes, like you seeing me doing it all the time, and that's natural. Sometimes the voice is a bit croaky, and you're not hearing it exactly. You've got to just tone your voice to it. So don't worry, that happens all the time. Okay, so let's do one more, shall we, to finish off, and then after that, just go and try this out on any song you listen to. Try and find the key note, and hopefully, if you can get the key note straight away, brilliant. Then you're well on the way to being able to play very well by ear if you can't already. And if you're hearing the other notes in the chord, the fifth and the third, then that's encouraging as well, because at least you're not tone deaf. At least you're in the same zone. And then it's just a case of being able to spot the key note from there, either doing it by ear or by doing that minor test. Okay. So we're going to do one more song now. Let's try this one here. Can you hear that key note? I'm humming it to myself now. Can you hear it? I'll give you a clue. The first line of Bob Marley's melody was the key note. So you see, it's not always the case, but often the first note is the key note. Sometimes when you look on a piece of music, you'll see the first chord, the opening chord or the opening note is the key note, and it resolves on that key note as well. So another sort of tip to help you do this quicker, listen out for that. It's not always the case, but sometimes it is the case. Now can you hear that key note? That's the key note. You might hear but then that's the resolve. Let's find it on the guitar. Start with middle C. Don't forget where middle C is. There you go. It's in C. Easy, and really easy to improvise on the piano. Now all white keys. Okay, just remember C, all white notes. There you go. You've got that key, and you've got all of the other notes in there. Is that one in there? Let's listen to that one. That's there. But the release isn't the same. That's the difference. So what's that note? That note will be a G. That's a fifth. Do the minor test. Let's do the minor test. The G is the top of a C minor chord, arpeggio. So let's try the minor test. D sharp just doesn't fit. So you know that the G is there, but it's not the key note. Okay, the other key note you might hear would be that one, E. It just hasn't got the release of the key note C. But let's try the minor test on E. That's E. The minor test for E, the top note of A minor. Let's try A minor. So kind of works, but it's almost like the harmony's on its head. Okay, so it doesn't work. There's the release, that wave hitting the beach. So there you go, that's how you pick out the key note, okay? So a quick recap then, sing along to the song, try and pick out one chord that fits with all of the others, okay? And how you test it, because there's lots of notes to hear, although there's only 12 notes to choose a key note from, and then once you've got the key note, there's only 8 notes in the scale to choose from. All of those 8 notes in the scale have a feeling that they work with the others. But there's only one that works really, really smoothly, really, it's got that release that it works perfectly with all of them. There's only one. So try and work on that, because you will, if you've got a good ear, you will be able to hear the other notes of the chord. And if you're not sure, then you use the minor test. Remember, put that note at the top of a minor arpeggio, okay? And then do the minor test. Try and play that arpeggio along to the song. And if it doesn't fit, then you know that that's not the key note. It might be in there, but it's not the key note. So you want that release of the key note. Okay, good. So practice that now. Hopefully that's cleared up how a lot of ear tests work, or how a lot of people get to work stuff out by ear, or at least it's got you started. And watch out for the next lesson in your inbox, because I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about how all of this works, okay? So, great stuff. Lovely teaching you. I hope that was useful, and good luck. See you next time. Bye.